Welcome to Real Wisdom, where we dive into the real stories of remarkable women. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce Angel James, a woman whose personal journey will inspire you to embrace change and live life on your own terms. Angel spent over 25 years as a TV news producer, but when faced with a series of life changing events, she knew it was time to rewrite her story. It took a lot of courage and determination, but Angel sold her possessions, moved to New York City, reinvented herself as a content creator and TikTok influencer. In fact, she has over 200,000 followers on TikTok alone. Through her genuine style and vulnerable storytelling, Angel is empowering women everywhere to put themselves out there, advocate for their health, and see midlife as a time of possibility and growth. Get ready to be inspired, moved, and motivated to step into your own power. And if you're ready to hear more stories like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Welcome, Angel. I am so very excited to have you with me today. I've been following you on this journey, and as a woman in midlife, I'm just so excited to watch your experiences and see how you're growing your TikTok platform, which has over 200,000 followers, which I think is not only inspiring, but it's really amazing that you were able to do that. And I think you have a story that I wanted to share with the community. You didn't just embrace change, but you chased it down the street, you jumped on its back, and you rode it all the way to New York City. What was that moment when you said to yourself, I need to do this for me? And it led you to where you're at now.
It kind of happened in two parts. I am from Virginia, but and I worked in TV for a little while in Norfolk, Virginia. Then I moved to St. Louis for a boy. That's a whole other story. Never got married to him. I was engaged, but things don't happen to you; they happen for you, right? I got this
Yes.
great job in television. I had my son. I got married, had my son with somebody else. Was raising my son by the time he was like 3 years old on my own. And the first wave really happened. I had been working for almost 20 years, 18, I think, actually, in St. Louis, raising a kid by myself. And I have my biological father, who I didn't really know, who was homeless for 8 years of my life. I got a phone call that he was dying and that somebody needed to come sign the papers to take him off the respirator. So I flew back home to Virginia, and there were a couple of things that happened that it was literally like, you need to quit. You're getting an opportunity right now to quit. You better take it. So he left me a little bit of money. I didn't even know he had any money, and so I was able to quit. I started a social media business by accident, but I was able to be with my son through those latter years of high school, and I would do it all over again, that I would have never had with him. And so the COVID happened, and then the C word entered my life, not COVID, but cancer.
Mhm.
It's just like still hard for me. My sister was diagnosed with asthma at first. It turns out she had stage 4 lung cancer, a very rare genetic cancer. My baby sister, who's 10 years younger than I am, too, was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer. I'm the oldest. um,
Wow.
and I'm 1,000 miles away. This stuff happened all at once. I got the phone call that it was nearing the end for my sister. I literally threw my dog in the car, some dog food, and the clothes on my back, and drove 1,000 miles uh, to Virginia. Was there with her when she died. And while I was there, my house was sold. Like, everything happened all at once.
That is a lot to come at you at one
Yeah,
time. That's a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I was getting the phone call. It's sold. And anyway, I rerouted back to New York for a little while to try to mourn a little. And then it was like, my real estate agent, are you coming back to St. Louis? Because, that's what's happening. So I drove back, gave away almost everything I owned. And now we're here in the New York City area. Yeah.
But you have such a positive attitude, and I know that all of those things are It's like those are really heavy. It's really heavy stuff, and I'm sure that weighs on you.
I
But just to
yeah,
see your attitude and how you're approaching life now, there's something special in that.
I feel like my sister who passed away was the vivacious, fun, funny sister. You know how all the sisters kind of get labels. I'm like the studious, good student one. And I just feel like I need to honor her. I need to live my life twice as hard for her. So that's where I'm at now. And I also feel like I'm where I always wanted to be, like as a kid. And we hit in midlife. We really have a lot of us have lost our armor because when I quit TV, I identified as being a TV news producer. I mean, ate, breathed, slept that stuff every single day. And even when I quit, my son said, "Well, who will you be then?" I felt like even he had identified me as that. And I think in midlife, we get to a point where we have identified so much as being a mom, and then we don't lose the title, but we've been demoted.
Oh,
they don't
yeah.
they
Yes.
don't need us as much anymore. And then a lot of us are kind of just getting to that point in our careers where it's just it. I was the last person in the newsroom you would ever expect to quit. I mean, I loved my job. I was booking 75 segments a week, but man, I hit a wall and I hit a wall hard. And I realized too, I think in midlife and why it's such a confusing time for us, I feel like we're so busy with all these things that we're doing that we put everything on a shelf. And in midlife, when all these things start happening, that still falls on our head
Yeah.
and hits hard. Yeah. So that's kind of the Cliff Note version of everything that happened.
Yes, but what a version. What a version. I want to dive deeper into your story, but I want to do a little something so that we can get to know you better in a different way. Are
Okay.
you up for a quick round of this or that?
Yes. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. So I know that you've spent time in St. Louis,
Hmm.
and for some reason, toasted ravioli is a thing down there. Toasted ravioli or New York pizza?
I shouldn't say this because one of my social media clients, there's a lot of claims to fame for the invention of toasted ravioli. And I worked for him for a while, but
Oh no, this isn't.
New York pizza.
Well, growing up in Chicago, whether it's a thin style or deep dish, you got to have your pizza spot. Quiet night at home or night at home with a good book or a night out on the town.
A quiet night home with a book. Hands
Is your
down.
bookshelf filled with things to read or already read?
To read.
To
And
read.
I heard that that's a sign of intelligence. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm a book hoarder. It's bad.
I am too. I was just the other day, I have it separated into piles, and yesterday I met a friend out for lunch, and I already have plenty to read on my plate. I got two more books. I'm like, I'm walking past the bookstore. I'm like, okay, two more. What's it going to hurt me? But
I went and bought a book yesterday because standing in front of my bookshelf, and it goes all down this wall. It's like standing inside a filled closet. I have nothing to wear. I have nothing to read. So I bought one yesterday too. So yeah, I get you. I get you.
it's just fun. I like the idea of them. I like seeing them all behind me. There's so much potential there. And, it
I
depends on your mood, what you're going to read next.
It took me a while to do this bookcase, even though I had been wanting it for a while. If you ever get these are like I think they're called Billy bookcase from IKEA,
Yeah.
and they're so easy to put together. But you spend a lot of time just sitting in a chair with your coffee and staring at your bookcase. What is that? What is up with that? I just stare at it.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. Old school playlist or new artist on Spotify?
Old school. Old school. Absolutely.
Okay, I think you're going to this one because I have done this myself. View at the top of the arch or the New York skyline?
Well, I've been to the top of the arch. That's one of those things that it was one and done for me. I did it a few times, but it's okay. I did it. check that. I'm scared of heights, but being where I'm at and seeing the sky, New York skyline, hands down. Because the arch, I don't know if you've ever been up in it, but you go up in like this egg, like from Mork and Mindy,
Yes.
and you go up it, and then it's like swaying a little. I haven't been there since my son was little, and he's about to turn 21 next month, and you can kind of curl in and look out the window, and it was just like, get down from there. Yeah.
Yep. I've done it once, and I thought on my way up, I'm like, please can make sure that I get down to the other side. I'm like, how old is that thing?
I didn't know I was claustrophobic, you know? I got in that Mork and Mindy egg. New York skyline, hands down. Yes.
Hands down. Okay, one more. Home cooked meal with your son or ordering your favorite meal from DoorDash?
That's hard because I mean, it depends. Well, I get into cooking moods, and I'm not a very good cook at all, but I have found it brings me peace to cut up the vegetables and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I have a really good answer to this question, and I will not pay for DoorDash. No, I've done it. The amount of money it costs. I mean, sometimes I run around the city and I do angel math in my head because it's like, what did that ferry cost? What did that subway just cost? We don't factor that stuff in.
Yeah. Well, I feel DoorDash, it's like a week's worth of groceries. You have to be really desperate sometimes to order.
It better be enough to last you for a few days. This is some meals for us. So
right?
With angel math. Okay, that works out in my head.
Can I read one of your old posts from TikTok? Is that okay?
Oh my goodness. I think so. Am I gonna cry?
Or you said, I don't care about climbing any corporate ladder. I'm spending Friday afternoon in Central Park because I no longer need to earn anyone's respect or approval. And I think that's so powerful. Can you share the moment when you realized that you didn't need anyone's approval anymore?
I don't know. I think you just realize at some point, as much as you give to your job, you are your own validation. If I go back I sought validation from my job, men. People dread midlife because it's equated to aging, but like, why are we not adoring this phase in life where it's finally, I don't owe you anything. I don't owe you anything. I can do what I want to do now. Other people's opinions don't matter as much, but I spent my whole life just trying to people pleasing, I don't think I ever asked for a raise in the 18 years I was there. And I was the person too who, if I had a day off, I felt like that. Nobody look at me. I'm like in the coffee shop at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. I'm a bad person. I wasn't at work. And now when I moved here, I kept some of my St. Louis social media clients. And I'm now in my eat, pray, love, eat, love, pray, love phase. And I'm trying to lean into my curiosities now and doing what I want to do next. Not what I'm expected to do.
Which part of the journey of Eat, Pray, Love are you on?
I feel like I'm definitely just on the quest. I'm still on the quest trying to figure things out because I still don't know. I've been listening to podcasts. Sorry. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about passion and purpose. I've really leaned into my New Year's resolution, and that was there's so much in New York City that I wasn't taking advantage of. Going to see authors was my New Year's resolution. Just listening to them speak. And I love the fact that you're bringing people's stories to the forefront here because I love listening to them speaking about, sometimes I find the author's story better than the book they wrote, even, and their takes on how they write, their process. So I'm just trying to I'm just leaning into that. And I'm not sure I answered your question, but yeah, I'm really leaning hard into that. In fact, I think I already peaked with my New Year's resolution because I bought a ticket to Simon & Schuster's 100th centennial that anybody bought, and it showed up in my Instagram feed. It was $40. Judy Blume was there.
Oh, that was a good one.
I went for her, but there were 30 authors on stage. Jerry Seinfeld was there. There were so many authors there, and I got so much out of it. It's like therapy to me. Oh,
Like Judy Bloom, I know that, like for women our age,
yeah,
that was huge. Judy Bloom was huge. Especially because mom tended not to talk about things that were really uncomfortable. Yes.
yeah, we
And
were it's in the whole 9 yards right here.
right? And she taught us things that, just like now, things that women didn't really want to talk about, or you're a young girl and you're just not sure about these thoughts and these ways that you feel. And like, I need a Judy Bloom novel now for women in menopause
Yeah.
because it's, I feel the same way I did back then, a little lost, a little confused, not knowing what's happening in my body, what direction it's going to take.
Yep. Yep. I haven't hit well, there's a whole other story about that. I think this is when I knew Judy Bloom. I just went to go see okay, J. Crew had an event during Women's History Month, and for some reason they let randoms just to sign up for a free ticket to it. Random me walked in, and J. Crew Group's CEO and president was there, and she introduced this woman.
Oh,
And this has really just been on my mind a lot, and I wanted to talk to you about this, and I'm glad we kind of went there because my sister was told she had asthma, and she accepted that. Whether or not knowing earlier would have saved her because it was a genetic aggressive thing. So here's the tale of two sisters. One sister who was told she had asthma turned out to be a stage 4 aggressive genetic lung cancer. The other one kept having something was wrong with her breast.
mm-hmm.
It was leaking, like it was painful. She kept going to the doctor, and the doctor just kept giving her antibiotics for it. She was getting antibiotics for something that was actually stage 1 breast cancer. But she kept advocating for herself. She was like, no, this still hurts. This isn't working. And, she was told cancer doesn't hurt, but she didn't stop. It breaks my heart, but that's the tale of two sisters right there. And this book is kind of about the history of why women. She said that there's 3 sentences that most women follow the trajectory of when they're told that they have cancer, and now I got to remember it. One is basically, "Am I going to die? What did I do to make this happen?" And the last one is, "I'm sorry, I'm sweating on you," because she's hugging. So why do we as women apologize? Seconds, 2 seconds after getting a cancer diagnosis, we're apologizing. You know what? I wasn't going to share this, but I'm going to share this anyway because I haven't even said it out loud on my socials yet. So after even knowing this about my two sisters, I kept blowing something off. Like I wasn't in menopause. I mean, I think I went 3 months without a period. I was like, okay, here we go. And then I was bleeding really bad. I'm just gonna say it out loud because
Mm-hmm.
why are we so ashamed of saying this stuff? And finally, I mean, I'm talking a year in. I finally, about a month ago, went to go get checked, and I have precancerous cells in my uterus.
Mm-hmm.
So I just found out last week that I'm getting a full hysterectomy. They're taking everything out: the cervix, the uterus, the fallopian tubes, the ovaries. I didn't know if I wanted to share this story or not, but I do.
Yeah.
But I do because and I'm just being real honest right now. The bleeding has stopped right now. If I hadn't gone last month, I'd be walking around going, okay, I'm good. I'm good now. Now maybe I'm fine with my body, because we're told that being abnormal is normal. It's not always normal to be abnormal at this stage in our life. We're told that a lot. I mean, if you look up at any TikTok, here's a supplement for this will fix this. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you because I want women to advocate for themselves and not think that it's all in your head.
Well, I am
Yeah.
really glad that you shared that because I don't think that you're the only one who feels the way that you did that. You knew, it sounds like you had a little idea that something just wasn't right. And do you think it's because of like the things that you've experienced that you were a little afraid of maybe going and finding out more?
You know, even with everything that I knew, I think I went just because I had it. It was like nonstop and heavy, and it's like, I can't live like this. And even when I was in the office with a nurse practitioner, by the way, thank God, she said, let's do this other test. I feel like I said it 3 times before it hit her. And that's no, that's normal. That's normal. And she's, wait a minute. I remember her head popping up. Oh, we need to do this test. But I feel like I had to say it 3 times. Does that answer your question? Because
Yeah, yes, and you're spot on when you say that you do have to advocate for yourself because you know what you should feel like. You know what you feel like on a good day, what you feel like on a bad day. And when things just aren't right, if you don't speak up and make a case for yourself,
nobody else, nobody's
nobody
going to
else is going to.
nobody's going to do it for you. Yeah, I wanted to share that because I know I almost cringe a little with the TikTok because I don't know what to do with it anymore. It was great during COVID, and I cringe when I look at some of those older videos. But that's not who all I want to be. You know what I mean? Just the 80s music. There's a lot more to me. So I'm kind of stuck there trying to figure out what's next. I'm still on my quest, the Eat, Pray, Love quest.
So, do you think you want to take your TikTok in a new direction?
I either in a new direction or I don't know if it's a platform for me. Believe that? Yeah. Yeah. So, because I'll be honest with you, when I was at this event, the J. Crew Group president and CEO talked about getting to meet Dr. Elizabeth Coleman, who wrote this book. And she was like, oh my God, couldn't believe she actually wanted to talk to me. She's the J. Crew Group president and CEO. What? But I felt like that when you why do you want to talk to me? Yeah, I'm so grateful for the platform, but it's been going through so many changes, and I mean, social media can be exhausting. It's exhausting to keep up with. I feel like I just traded in because I was doing social media for a bunch of different clients in St. Louis too. So I feel like I just traded in my segment producing
Mm-hmm.
for social media content creation, which is basically the same job, you're on a hamster wheel that never ends.
Yeah.
It just feels like there's no end in sight. Yeah, that's where I'm at with it right now. I'm not sure.
I know what you're saying, but I connect with you, and clearly other women connect with you too, and want to hear more from you. How would you encourage more women to, maybe it's not TikTok but another platform, so that their voices, so that they feel seen and heard, that their voices are out there in the world?
Well, first of all, I was a TV producer, so I was behind the scenes. There was a joke a while back in those days that if I went missing, there wouldn't even be a photo of me to put on a missing person's photo. That's how bad I'm like, but I would do bits. He's still there, a great feature reporter, and we used to do like bits, like just funny bits. And I would act in that. That's what I wanted to do when I was little. I was going to be a soap opera actress.
Oh.
So I think TikTok was good for me in that way, that outlet, appeasing that little girl in me. I don't know. I'm not answering your question, am I? What was your question again?
How do we?
Oh, okay. I kind of eased into it, and TikTok was a great platform, quite frankly, because, and I put myself out there because the big secret is that nobody knew you on TikTok. And we are scared to post because of somebody we know. And I mean, you could probably think of the person that's like, when you're posting it, you're thinking in your head, what's this person going to think if I do this? And at the end of the day, I mean, TikTok has been good to me. TikTok organically paid for my son's first semester at college. Organically. Like, people started buying. I don't make these t-shirts. There's an online store and they take the order and everything and you just get a commission. But they don't pay your bills, these people who have an opinion. And so many of the opportunities that I have gotten, I wouldn't have gotten if I hadn't posted. When I was in TV, I wasn't even on Facebook. I figured it was another portal for people to cuss me out because I was the gatekeeper on who got booked and who didn't, and people didn't take it well sometimes when they didn't get booked. So I was like, I don't need another portal for people to cuss me out. But after I left there, and I wanted to write, so I started writing a blog, and then I wrote that blog, I posted it, and somebody in St. Louis, mother model, our 2 scouts, and a husband and a wife, they discovered Carly Kloss. They discovered Ashton Kutcher. They're St. Louis based, and she had met me through TV, but she said, what are you doing now? And I didn't know I wanted to go into social media, but one thing led to another led to another that had me basically doing social media for a bunch of people. So if you don't put yourself out there, you're leaving a whole lot on the table. And because of who and what?
Mm.
Regrets are the worst thing. And sometimes a post does do really bad. It's that's embarrassing. Maybe I should take that down. But it only takes one. That one person to see it, that you never know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh, no, it did answer my question. It leads into the next question, because I was talking a couple of weeks ago to fitness influencer, and I've known her for a while, and look, she's got a great story and like fun content and everything. And she was just talking about that very thing, about how hard it is for women to get noticed. You see so many of these younger, like, Instagram stars and TikTok stars, and they've got millions, hundreds of thousands, millions of followers. And yet women our age are still struggling to get noticed, and not just by brands, but just to be seen as somebody who has some influence, who has wisdom, who has stories to share. We have disposable income and we make a lot of household decisions, but yet it doesn't feel as if out in the big world that we're really recognized as such. And I think that's part of the reason that holds a lot of women back. But how do we get it noticed? Do you have a secret for that?
Well, I think the tide is turning. You already see them putting older women on runways and fashion shows. It is ridiculous when you look at the statistics, and I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but the amount of Gen X women that are on these platforms and the amount of Gen X influencers there are is like 1 or 2%. Even though we are like a third of the platform. And then too, I feel like being Gen X, the joke is always that we're forgotten. And I feel like so many times that we are, because even now we're like doing older women, but they're doing boomers. It's like, how about us? And look at all the 50-year-old women who are like thriving, the Julia Roberts, the Jennifer Anistons. Like, we're killing it. This generation is healthier and wealthier than the generation before us. And we can't change that if we're being quiet about it. You have to put yourself out there and just take all that out, because it does bother me. I saw a video last night of probably of a 25-year-old who had 4 million views on just looking into the camera.
I don't understand, especially since, like you said, women are using these platforms.
And I don't want to buy something from a 20-year-old. I don't. I want women my age to be selling me stuff. Yeah, but I have been told, even in my comments, you had your time. It's our turn.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, trolls is a whole other subject to delve into, but because not only are you not posting because of that person, and what's she going to think, you're also scared of those. You're scared of those faceless user number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, saying something mean to you. And it's sometimes I've been like, why am I putting myself through this? Especially when I had first started. I'm like, why? And I've handled it really badly. I've handled it really well. But it bothers me so much that a woman of our age, we've gotten this far in life, would let some faceless troll stop us from posting.
Right.
From living our lives. Are you kidding me? Like, but I've dealt with it in all the wrong ways and in all the right ways, because I'm a fighter, not a lover. I was known as the queen for a while there, because I felt like I couldn't let go, and some people were like, why don't you just, because if I can stop them, maybe they'll think twice before they do it to somebody else. And people are just dumb anyway, because you can literally, the search function in TikTok and Google, you can be found now. TikToks are Googled or indexed in Google. So if you search somebody's name, they're gonna come up. If you search the person's name, TikTok has a great search engine. That's one of the great aspects of it. If somebody comments on video replies to your comment, it's there forever, baby. I just feel, and plus, if I can just say this too, no matter what you think of trolls, they actually give you more engagement. They're actually pumping your video out there more. So you can sit back and laugh too. It's thank you for the I tell people all the time, thank you for the engagement.
Right? I never thought of it that way, but you're right.
Oh,
I think they're trying to make you feel in some way small and insignificant, but it can have the opposite effect.
they're trying to shut you down and shut you up, but they're actually amplifying you.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. But
Oh, it's true. I mean, comments are held in high regard. I mean, everybody's all about the likes, but it's the comments, it's the shares that really get you going in the algorithm. And I am so sorry he's making this noise. See, this is realistic. This is real life. This is real life. No, your phone's dropping. It's exactly the way I wanted this to go.
okay, I have a good one here.
Okay.
Because the one thing that I see that shines through a lot of your posts is your relationship with your son. And I'm a mom of sons too, and it's a really special relationship. And is there something that your son has either taught you or inspired something in you?
Oh, now you're trying to make me cry. I remember I sat in a circle once and we were talking about who inspired you, and people were talking about this teacher and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, can I say my son? Because I honestly don't know how he came from me. He's such a good human. He's just such a good human. He teaches me that every day. I mean, he'll be 21 next month, and he's just so chill, and he always wants to look at something from all perspectives before he makes a judgment on it. And that's yeah, I think that's what he's done for me. And I feel like the love I have for him is just, you never realize until you were holding this little baby in your arms. Okay, yeah, I would jump in front of a train.
It's the one thing when they're babies, you have those moments where you're looking at them and it's love right away. But I think, Leo, when you see them grow into who they're going to be as an adult, that, yeah, there's a little, it gets you right here where you're like, oh, wow, I did that.
Yeah, he'll turn 21 next month. He's not that interested in drinking, or I'm like, oh, I mean, I had some wine around him. He's just such a good kid. And it might change next month, obviously, when he turns 21. But his care for people, like even when he was a little boy, he would run way ahead of somebody to hold the door open for them. And he teaches me kindness every day and looking at things from all perspectives. And that's what I feel like in this eat, pray, love era. Am I saying that right? Eat, pray, love
Yes.
era now. I'm trying to heal in a lot of ways and looking at different perspectives. I talked to my grandmother the other day, and she's 90 and she's not doing well. And actually, again, no C word in my family. And within 3 months, both sisters and my grandma. But she's already kicked cancer's butt, but she's 90 now. And it's funny because I told her I'm so happy here. And she said, do all that stuff while you're young, while you can. And I don't think of myself as being young, but to a 90-year-old,
You're young. Yeah. I'm sure your grandma's thinking, gosh, if I were in my 50s again, all the things that I would have done, or maybe I would do over, or take that chance, maybe take that trip or do whatever.
And trust me, it's been baby steps. It took me a long time to post. Look, if you want to post, turn in stories, because stories just feel like a safe place. Do it with somebody else on camera. That makes you feel a little safer when posting. But even when I moved here, I didn't take the train, the subway, like forever. And not because of whatever you hear in the news, but because I was always scared I was going to be going in the wrong direction. And isn't that just a lesson in life? And I just love the subway. I know this sounds really stupid, but I have anxiety. I feel like an introvert. But there's something about the fact that people walk through they walk through the turnstiles with such bravado and just, I don't know, I'm taking over the world. And then there's something that happens to them on the train when it's rocking. I read a description in a book, in a fiction book, and it was like all of a sudden you see their humanity on the train. But again, it took me a long time to ride the train. I'm still like, just this week I broke out of my comfort zone and took the train all the way to the Brooklyn Botanical Garden.
Okay.
Uh, I went to London by myself last summer, which
I
was my
did
first
see
time
that.
myself. And I literally go back to the photos. It was just last August, and I look at those photos and I'm like, I'm so proud of her. Like, how did she do that? But yeah, I'm just trying to experience everything and just soak up everything this city has to offer. I'm going to go to the Kelly Clarkson show after I get off here to go see that be done and see what that's like. And it's just amazing. New York can sometimes make you feel it's all opposites in New York. You can feel like anything's possible, and then everything feels impossible at the same time too. So
Well, there's just so many options for everything.
there is, and just even options in getting places. You know what I mean? We want to go there. We could take this train, and then we could take that train to that, and then what? There's so many options and choices with everything. And I just read this morning that the Greek people call this the midlife crisis, but the word crisis comes from Greek, and it's really about having something happen and making a judgment call on it. Really, this time in life we are in right now, it's about choices. And I want to share this book with you. He says that we are not in a crisis, we're in a chrysalis. So
Oh,
a chrysalis is that time between caterpillar and butterfly. And we're in that transitional time, and we're like, fly, butterfly, fly. We have so much still to look forward to. Life is not over for us.
no, it's not. Oh, that just that hit me the right way. I'm like,
Oh,
oh, I hope I'm, gonna blossom pretty soon. um, but
butterfly, girl.
okay, I have one more question for you because I do love your taste in music. This is a music question based on where you are right now in your life. What is that one song that you would recommend to a woman now who's in her midlife, who's on this journey? What's that one song that you would say, this is your song?
Warrior by Patti Smythe comes to mind.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's the first one that comes to mind. Yeah.
I love it.
Is that a really good
I
one,
love
right?
it.
Okay, yeah, Patti Smythe, Warrior.
You knew that right away.
I've made a lot of TikTok, and I've done quite a few to that song. It just, yeah, a lot of the music that we had when we grow up resonates in a whole different way. It hits different. But yeah, Warrior from Patti Smythe for sure. And I just saw Pat Benatar in concert not that long ago too. There's some of her songs too. Treat Me Right might be one.
Okay, now I've opened up that door. We've got a whole lot coming. It's really funny though that you said that you feel that you're an introvert, because I never would have guessed that.
People think you're a certain some way just walking the streets of New York and walking. I have so much anxiety sometimes doing it, but I push through it. But I'm a total introvert. I play well as an extrovert on. And again, that's just my drama club teenager in me, because I mean, I admire you so much for doing this. So many people are like, oh my gosh, you're putting yourself out there. I'm like, I'm lip syncing to an 80s song. You women, and you're doing podcasts. Are you kidding me? That's huge to me. So it's just, I want to like try this. I appreciate that you left me that DM when I said, should I? Look at me, looking for validation again.
Well, it's still it's a weird thing in both ways, like to do different things, but also to ask people to join you, to go into somebody's DMs and be like, hey, do you want to do this with me? Because there's always that fear of rejection. And I know you should never take it personally, because you need to put yourself out there 100 times before you find that one opportunity. But I just feel like I have to say, you have been such an inspiration, and I think for so many women, and I hope that you continue on this journey, whether it's with TikTok or something else. But I'd like for you to share with us right now, what is Angel working on and what do we have to look forward to seeing from you in the future?
Well, right now, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, like I said before, I booked 70 some segments a week. I was called a content queen for a reason, and I'm bursting. I am bursting with ideas, and I want to start a podcast. I think I had a website. My son right now is making it who I am today because it was a social media business website. So it was like I had to let go of that side of myself, even though I'm like, oh, this beautiful website. That needs to go away. So I'm kind of working on that with my son, my computer science major. I don't know. I'm a better writer than I am a talker, I feel like. So I'm just I I want to share with everybody what I'm learning.
Mhm.
I feel like, and that's going to come out in some form, podcast, more Instagram posts, because I thrive in stories. I don't know if you look in my stories, I thrive in there. But again, it's my armor in there because I feel like I'm safe in there. Nobody does really comes at me in my stories. It just those feel like more like your friends. That's what stories are for. You build stronger connections with people in stories. That's what the basis of stories is. But start posting more in the feed and maybe tackle it TikTok in a different way.
I just have to say thank you so much for taking the time with me today. I've been looking forward to this ever since you said that you were available and wanted to do this with me. And I hope we can continue these conversations. And I don't want this to be the end of our story together. You really are an inspiration. And I think women in midlife, our generation is very grateful for women like you who are going to encourage us to step outside that box and to not feel small anymore. So thank you for that.
Oh, no, I appreciate you thinking of me so much, Holly. I am not worthy. I feel so, I feel like this is what I'm talking about. If I hadn't put myself out there, maybe we would have never connected.
Right.
So don't worry about what Aunt Susie's going to think about you or what some faceless troll is sitting in a basement's going to say to you. You're like, you were blocking out, you're avoiding posting because you're avoiding darkness of it all, but you're also blocking out the light. Turn to the light. Thank you for thinking of me, really, Holly. It
You're
means,
welcome. And I look forward to what's in your future. I think this is something big is on the horizon. I just don't think you or I know what it is yet.
well, thanks again for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on Real Wisdom. If you're inspired by stories like this and want to be part of a community that celebrates the wisdom of women, visit joinimpart.com and become part of our conversation. And don't forget to subscribe for even more real wisdom. Until next time, keep embracing your story.